Hello guys, welcome to the part 2 of introduction to JavaScript. Um, in the part 1 we talked about variables, we talked about console.log, we talked about adding a lot, single line comment. So if you've not watched the part 1, you can watch the part 1 in the previous video. So in this second part, we're going to be talking about the switch statement, loops, and everything that has been indicated here under lesson 2. So I'll just be heading over to HTML. I know this is just a junk um, code, so let's open it to the live server. Okay, let me just put something different here. Let me just put something different. Like all this. Okay. We're practicing JavaScript. Let me give this a little styling. Do we have it linked? Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go to CSS. Style the CSS. Okay. Let's style this section. Okay, and we call this width 100%, height 200 pixels, background, let's give this a red, and color we can give it a white. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so let me also give this a color, font weight, font size. I'll give this let's say 70 pixels. Okay, so just something different. Display, flex, justify content, center, align items, center. Okay, so I would just be continuing from where I stopped in the part 1. So I'll go into the switch statement. Now if you look at the if else statement here, I've used so many if else statements here. Okay, so I made mention that the if else statement is used to evaluate a condition. Okay, like I said, days of the week, Monday, and output it if it's correct, or put the else statement. Okay, and also the else statement is used to create another condition. So there's a way we can create multiple conditions without adding else if else, and all that. Okay, to give us more options. Okay, so that's known as the switch statement. Okay, so the switch statement can be started by using a variable. So you can say, okay, name of country. Okay, I can say Canada, for example. Okay, so now two things I want us to talk about here. It's the camel casing. Okay, in in JavaScript, this is known as a camel casing. Okay, where each word is capitalized apart from the starting word. Okay, so name is not capitalized, and I've downloaded an image to illustrate this. Okay, so similar to a camel, similar to a camel. Okay, so if the camel casing, you can look at this. Okay, similar to a camel. Okay, camel has a hunchback here. These are similar to these words. Okay, I've used for this variable name. Okay, so it's mostly used in variable name. It can also be used in functions, or get into functions. It can be used in basically anything. Okay, so here are the rows of camel casing. Camel casing, the first word is not being put in capital letter, but other words are being put in capital letter. Okay, so that's a point to note. The second point I want us to note is that when JavaScript you start counting from 0, not 1. Okay, so in numbers you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but in JavaScript you start counting from what? 0. Okay, so we'll be going into that shortly, but this is how to use the camel casing. Okay, it's quite compulsory to know camel casing, especially when we get into document object model. Okay, so I will be starting up the switch statement. So we start by writing the word switch. Okay, and similar to the if else statement or the else if statement, we put certain conditions in the bracket. Okay, and the bracket. So in this case, we put name of country. Okay, the name of the variable here. Okay, name of country, and we put a curly bracelet, and we'll add multiple conditions. So I'll just be adding maybe 5 random countries, and whichever one is correct is going to be indicated, okay, in the case. Okay, so we use case to write our conditions. So we can say case, and I put a random country. I can say maybe Nigeria, for example, and I put a colon, and I can say if this is correct, console.log this is the what? Correct option. Oh, this is the wrong option. Okay, so let me just put it that way. Now, aside this, going to another case, we have to put something they call a break. A break will make it break out of evaluating this condition, similar to the else if. Now we go to the next one and we say case. We'll add another condition here. I can say the USA, and I can say console.log this is also wrong. This is also wrong. Okay, break. So we can say case, and we can put another one. We can put the correct option here. Okay, and we can say console.log. If I log into the console, I can say Canada is the correct option. Now this is very good if you want to create a quiz website, if you want to create something that has to do with interacting with database. I'll add a break to break out of this case. I'll add another case, just I can say Ghana, and I can say console.log this isn't correct. Okay, I think this is for. Let me just add one more, and this one more I'm going to be adding is a statement. Okay, let me just add this case. I'll be going into that case, and I can say China. I can say console.log this is not correct. Okay, we can say break. We can say break. Alright, so now we have created a variable name of country, and we have put the correct center as Canada, and this case is just to evaluate the name of the variable if it matches the name of the variable. So Nigeria is obviously wrong, USA is obviously wrong, Canada is wrong. So in our console.canada is correct, which matches the name of the variable here, okay, the string. So in our console.log we should have a console.log of Canada is the correct what option. So we go back and we inspect, and we go into our console, and what can we see? Canada is the what correct option. Okay, so in a case where the options are not here, there is another option that the answer is not here, maybe in the variable value here. We can add something they call default. Okay, default. So we can say default, and we can say console.log. Let's say the answer or the option isn't available, but we will have to intentionally make this wrong. So let's put another option here. We can say Russia, right? And we can simply refresh this, and we can see what has updated here is what the option isn't what available. Okay, so that's for the switch statement. Okay, so up next I want us to talk about loops. Okay, so there's for loop, there's while loop, and there's do while loop. Okay, and I'll be explaining the three of them. Okay, there are about 5 or 6 loops in JavaScript, but I'll just be focusing on these three till we get to ES6. Okay, so loops, and I can say for loop. So I want to talk about something. In loops there are about 3 statements. Okay, in a loop. So in a for loop about 3 statements. Okay, in a loop generate about 3 statements. So the first statement is like an initial expression, so an initial variable. Okay, so if I were to say var I will assign it to a value here, an integer. I can say 1, and I put it with a destructor. Okay, that's the first statement. So you have to declare a variable and give the variable a value. Okay, so I've given it 1. Now the second statement is known as the condition statement. Okay, so this sets the condition for the loop to what? The loop to what? Run. Okay, so I can say if I, which is 1, is less than 5. Okay, I put a destructor again. So I've put a condition, and if this is true, I'll set another condition what I want the loop or this variable to do. Okay, now the last statement, the child statement, which I see there are about 3 statements, sets the increment expressions or decrement expressions. Now I think in the last class we talked about increment and decrement expression by adding the plus plus and the minus sign. So in this case I'll just add a plus, since we're trying to increase this from 1 within 5. Okay, so I say I plus plus. Now that's for the 3 statement. We also have to put the code statement within the curly bracelet. Okay, so I can say console.log I. Okay, console.log I. Okay, so this should bring from 1 to 4 and not 5. Okay, it's less than 5, so 1 to 4. So we can basically put anything here, but let's go back, refresh this. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, but if we were to put an equals to here, it would also output what? 5. Okay, so you can see it as output 5 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so you might be asking, what's the use of loops? What do we use loops for? Later on in the other sections or in the future videos, when we get into ES6, when we get into DOM, when we get into events, loops are going to be very useful. We can use it to make a picture slider. We can use it for many other things. So loops are used to repeat, create repetition of certain code. Okay, so I've created a repetition of what? 1 to 5. Okay, let me just leave it 1 to 4. So if less than 5. Okay, so that's a for loop. Now we have another loop known as while loop. Okay, so similar to the for loop, the while loop runs on certain conditions also. Okay, so certain conditions have to be true, but the loop is going to run as far as the condition is true. Okay, so we have var. Let me use count. I can say equals to 0. Sorry about that. And I can say while if this as far as this condition is true, the loop is going to run while count is less than, let's say, 10. Okay, while count is less than 10, console.log. We can put anything here, it doesn't have to be the variable name. I can say this is great for a while loop. Now we will need to add our increment for the count plus plus, else our code is going to crash. Okay, our entire website is going to crash. So this helps keep in check. Okay, so now we've stated the condition here, count is less than what? 10. Okay, which is 0 is less than 10, so this should come out 9 times. Okay, so let's go back and we check. And we refresh. Okay, I'll just start this again in a live server. Stop. Okay. Okay, so we have this running what? 10 times. Okay, starting from 0, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, and not 10. Okay, because we didn't put an equals to here. Okay, to balance the condition. Okay, so the next loop we're gonna be talking about is the do while loop. Okay, the do while loop. Now the do while loop will run at least once, sorry, whether the condition is true or what not. So if I were to say var, let me just use count 2 equals to what? 0. Okay, so I can say do console.log count 2. So it will run at least once. Okay, and I can say count plus plus. Now I put the while at the bottom, the condition here at the bottom, count 2. Oh, sorry, count 2, which is the variable name here, is less than 5. Okay, so we'll go back and we check. Okay, it's running infinitely. Let's stop the live server. Okay, start it again. Alright, should work out now. Okay, so we have 0 1 2 3 4, matching this condition here. Okay, so let's intentionally make this condition wrong. So obviously 2, which is 0 here, counts 2 is less than what? 5. So let's make it greater than. This shouldn't run in a do this shouldn't run in a while loop or the for loop, but this is going to run at least once, whether the condition is what? True or what or not. Okay, so it has run at least once, which is the what, the 0. Okay, so if you're just joining us, I made explanation of what the console is for in the previous video. Okay, so we are logging information into the browser console. It's just a log of information intentionally from our JavaScript. Okay, so we have not really talked about DOM, document object model, so we don't have much to insert into our HTML here, except we are using document.write. Okay, I don't want to use document.write because our code or our input here is going to be so randomized. Okay, even in one line or multiple lines. Okay, so that's for loops. So we go to the next thing here, which is the breaks. Okay, which is the breaks. So I've used breaks here in the switch statement. Okay, so breaks helps to break out of a running code. Okay, so this is console.log. We break out of this running code. Oh, I didn't add a break here. We also break out of this running code here. The same thing here. Okay, so let's talk about breaks. So let's talk about breaks. Now we can use breaks in a for statement or a for loop or a switch statement here, but let me just use it in a for loop. Okay, so I'll just give you an example here on how to use breaks. So breaks completely breaks out of the code. Like I said, I can say var let's say b equals to 0, equals to 0, and b is less than or equals to 10, and b plus plus. Okay, and we have if. I'll just set a condition here. Remember I said double equals to, it's equals to, and 1 equals to its assignment in JavaScript. Okay, so I'm setting a condition that when this b here gets to 5, break out of the statement. Normally this is supposed to give us 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, but it's only going to give us 0 1 2 3 4 and what, 5. Okay, so I'll console this console.log b. Okay, so we're supposed to have 1 to at least 10, but we're going to have only 1 to 5. So I go back and inspect this, the console, and we can see 1 to 4, sorry, not 5. Okay, so 0 1 2 3 4. The code, the break statement has broken out of the code. Okay, if we were to remove or comment this out, for example, we should have our 1 to 10 complete here, okay, in the console. Okay, so let's just put it back. So that's for breaks. Now similar to breaks, we have a statement known as continue. Continue. Okay, continue. So let me still use the for loop to put the continue as a var. Let me use c equals to 0. I put in the structure b, c is less than 7, for example, or less than or equals to 7. I also put in the structure and I say c plus plus. So I will set another condition using the if else statement. I say if c is equals to let's say 5, console.log c. Okay, console.log c. Alright, so now what the difference between this and this is that in this one it's going to break out when it gets to 5 and continue, okay, like the name implies. Okay, so I can say break statement statement. Okay, so it's going to break out at 5 and continue at 6, 7. So this should give us 0 1 2 3 4 6 and 7. Okay, so I'm going to refresh this. And go back. Okay, so observing here, we forgot to add our continue. Sorry about that. So we add a continue statement, and console log. I'll take this out. Sorry. Okay, so let's check. This should work. Close here. Okay, this should work. Okay, this should work. So I know I've used similar numbers here. So we have, if c equals to 5, continue, but break out when it gets to what, 5, but continue at what, 6. Okay, so we have 0 1 2 3 4, there's no 5 here, 6 and what, 7. Okay, so that's one of the use of the continue statement. Okay, so it's very good, all this from the basics. It's good, used in the building blocks when we get to advanced use of JavaScript. Okay, so now another important part of JavaScript, which is going to be what we're going to be using a lot, even when you get to ESCs, arrow functions, and all that. Okay, well, knowing the basic ways to use functions is extremely important. Okay, so things I would ask people, I'll ask you to think of a function in JavaScript as a collection of events into one code. Okay, so a function is used to house a lot of things into one code. Okay, so we can put a lot of stuff into a function. Okay, collection of events, collection of code blocks, and a function it's used declaring a function or naming a function in JavaScript. You need to write the function keyword function and a name of the function you want to use. So I can say hello, I can say hello world. Notice I also use the camel casing. It's not very compulsory, but very good. Code practice. Okay, so now within this code statement we can put anything. So let me just use double alert. You can say this is a function, for example, and we can put another alert here. We can say this is another alert. Okay, so we've added to alert here, and I'll just call it into the console.log. I would have used an event to call it into the HTML, but let me just try use an event. Well, I've not got into event, but let me just try and use it. So we can call this hello world normally nothing happens here till the function is called. Now what I need people to understand is that nothing happens till we call this function into our HTML code. Okay, so I copy this. Well, I've not got into event, but let me just give an instance, and I can go to the body and call this function. So I can say onload. I paste this hello world. Okay, so when the page has loaded, you can see this is a function. There's a first alert, this is another alert. Okay, so whenever the page loads, that's what happens. Okay, this is a function. Okay, this is another what, alert. Okay, so we can also call that into the console, but I'll just leave it like that for now. So to enable this not to disturb our code block, I'll just comment this out so that whenever we load the page, it won't just show. So that's for functions. You can use functions for many other things. We can even can even use it to call something into the console. Okay, so I can say, or we can use it for mathematical calculations. Okay, so I'll write another function, but let me first comment this out. And we go, what's the next thing here? Function parameters. Now function parameters, function parameters are like variables inside the function. So I'm going to play a function here, and I can say hello there. Okay, and I put a code block. So this function is empty. Okay, so we can put a parameter here. Like I said, parameter is like a variable in the function bracket. Okay, here. Okay, so I can say I can put this, I can say number, let me just say bank, let's say 8, just a random name. Okay, and we can even assign this name into a variable, into a value. Can give this parameter a value, so I can say 9. Okay, so if I wanted to just call on, make some calculations here, I can say return. I'll get to return, so I can say return bank 8 times, that's 9 times 10, which should give us 90. So I call this into the console. I can say console.log hello there. Okay, so I put inspect. I can say sources, sorry, console, and we can say we have what, 90. Okay, we have what, 90. All right, so we can also have like I indicated here, multiple parameters. Okay, we can also have multiple parameters. It's not compulsory to add a value to this parameter here, but this is just another way to demonstrate that. Okay, so when we get to argument, I'll remove a parameter and see how we can add argument values to counter this parameter. So we can say bank 9 equals to, let's say, 20. So I can just, this is a multiple parameter, I can say times bank 9. Okay, so if I call this as be 9 times 20. Okay, 9 times 20 is what, 180. Okay, 180. Okay, so that's for multiple parameter and single parameter. Okay, so there's something they call arguments. So arguments are values we add when we are calling the parameters that don't have values. Okay, even if the parameters have values. So I can say function, I can call this hello again. So I can add 2 parameters here. I can say real. I can say real 2. Okay, so I can put something like return real 3 or 2. Okay, real plus real 2. Okay, so if I call this should, if I console.log this should not give any value, should give maybe an undefined hello again. Okay, hello again. So I go back to the console. You can see it's showing what, not a number. Okay, none, not a number, which is one of the ways to indicate a number modifier has not been assigned to either a variable or a, so now we have a way to add an argument here. Okay, so an argument is a value we add to a parameter when we call on a function. Okay, so I can say simple 7 and what 4. Okay, so this 7 will add a value to this first parameter, this first argument to add the value to this first parameter, and the second argument to add the value to the second parameter. So 7 plus 4, this should give us 11. So we can see we have 11 here. Okay, so it's very important if you want to use this to create maybe login, logout. You want to use this to call certain things when we get into document object model. Okay, so that's for argument, multiple and single argument. Okay, multiple and single argument. Okay, so we go to the next thing known as the return statement. I think I've already talked on this. I've already given an example how we can use a return statement here, but I will just be officially talking about this now. Return statement is an inbuilt keyword that can be used to return an arithmetic calculation or something in a function. Okay, so I've used the return to return 7 bank 8 times bank 9, which is 9 times 20. I've also used the return here to return this argument here, 7 plus what 4. Okay, so return can be used in so many ways. These are one of the ways we can use a return statement or return keyword in JavaScript. Okay, so I'll just put it here, return keyword. Okay, so let me just put something, function. I'll say hello today. Okay, so let me just put return 7 times 9. Now there's no variable attached to this. I can say console.log hello today. Notice when I'm calling these functions, I didn't add in the console, I didn't add the function keyword here. Okay, I didn't add it. It's showing an error here. Okay, so I ignored that when you're calling the function, even when I called it in the body here on the unload. But I've not gotten to this, so I don't want us to concentrate on events and all that. So notice I didn't put that. I only spelled this. Okay, so now the importance of camel casing. Okay, I said camel casing is a way of what putting capitalizing a word in a function or a variable name and ignoring the first one, ignoring the first word in capitalization, but capitalizing all other words except the first word. Okay, so I've said hello today. So hello today, what is it giving us? 7 times 9 is giving us 63. But if I were to say hello today using small letter, these are not the same. Okay, it didn't give us any value. Okay, so it has to be exact. Okay, so I've used the camel casing. Camel casing are very important, especially when we get to DOM. Getting the body tag or getting each of the class here or ID is being used by camel casing. So in DOM, take example, we want to get an ID, we can say document dot get element by ID. Okay, so we can see this is a camel casing inbuilt in JavaScript. Okay, so it's good practice we know about camel casing before we get to DOM. Okay, document object model. When we get there, I'll do some explanation on what DOM is, uses, and how important it is to manipulating our HTML. Okay, so for now we're just in the console. When we get to DOM, try to see how we can put most of this our code into our HTML. So for now we're using the console to just be very much expressive. Okay, so the next thing in line is using the alert box. Okay, I think officially I've used the alert box, but let me just use it again without putting it in a function. So alert is an inbuilt function used to add just a pop-up alert to a page. So I can say this is a sample alert, okay, and I put a structure here, and I go back, I refresh this. You can see this is what a sample alert. Okay, so it can't be modified. This is just how it has been inbuilt in JavaScript. Okay, so I'll comment this out so that it's not just going to be disturbing us. So you can add basically anything. You can even add numbers. So 78. Okay, let me put something like today's date is let's use 3/9/2025, for example. Refresh this again, so we can see we can add numbers or anything. Today's date is 3/9/2025. This is just not the actual date of today, but just an example. Okay, so I comment this out, so you can put your practice. The other ways we can add inbuilt pop-up in JavaScript, one of the ways is using a prompt box. Now a prompt box, okay, let me use a prompt box. It's very similar to alert, or would I say is one of the alert types in JavaScript. So a prompt box is used to have a user input a value before entering a page. Okay, so let me put this example and we'll see. So I can say prompt, I can say something like please enter your name. Okay, please enter your name, and I put a comma, and I say your name here. Okay, so we go back and we see okay. So now let me explain something. I put a comma here, although this second one is not very compulsory. Now this first one is to obviously give this prompt box what we want users to input here. Now the second one is like a placeholder similar to the input, okay, where users can add certain things, give them a tip of what they need to add and all that. So I can say enter your name, I can say your full name. Okay, so it's like a hint. Alright, so I go back and I refresh this. So I can say your full name, I can say Clement Diok. Okay, so it's very useful, especially when we get to back-end development. This is going to be very useful. Even in front-end development, it's also going to be very useful. Okay, so another box I would want us to learn, I'll comment this out as usual, is confirm box. Okay, right on the line, confirm box. So confirm box is just used to allow users to verify something. So users must click cancel or okay to proceed. Okay, so this is a little bit more complex than prompt and alert. Okay, so I'll be putting this into a variable, but here's the default confirm box. Confirm, I can say something like, do you really want to leave this page? I can put a comma, inside. Okay, say if something happens. No. Okay, nothing happens. So like I said, it's a little bit more complex. I'll put this into a variable and say var result equals to this, and I'll also add an if statement. Okay, so I can say if result is equals to true, which is a boolean for true or false. That is true or false. So this is a keyword here. So if this is true, that if users are clicking OK, alert something like thanks for visiting. Okay, so we are telling the users, do you really want to leave this page? Maybe they click a cancel button to leave the page or something. Or I can say if they don't leave the page, you can say something like alert, something like thanks for staying with us, enjoy our site. Okay, thanks for staying with us, enjoy our site. Okay, so I go back and I go back and I put this into an alert. Okay, so I call on this variable here, and that's what result. Okay, so don't worry if you don't understand anything here. Maybe along the line we'll be using this as part of our building blocks. I go back and I refresh this. Oh, what's wrong here? Okay, I noticed I made a mistake here, so that's my bad. So this should work now. Okay, so do you really want to leave this page? You can say okay, thanks for visiting. So if we were to click cancel, for example, it's going to give us a different configuration. Thanks for visiting. So let's click cancel. We can say thanks for staying with us, enjoy our site. That means you don't want to leave the site. Okay, so this shows okay, so you can see the building blocks. We can use this later on. Let's comment this out. So go over this and check it out on your VS Code. So the next thing I want to be talking about is adding Sweet Alert. Okay, so Sweet Alert is like a third-party website used to get alert samples. Okay, so we can say Sweet Alert on Google, and we come here. So similar to how we have Bootstrap and we have Font Awesome, we also have Sweet Alert. So we copy this CDN, content delivery network, that will help us get this alert. So we have a variety of alerts we can add here that we can also customize. So we have this basic alert, we have this other one, we have this other one, we have so many alerts here. Type, we can test it out, cancel, we can try everything here. So I'll just be installing. Remember, you go to installation and you copy this. I've already copied this. I will paste it in the head of our HTML. Okay, so right now we can use any alert here of our choice. So let me just start from the basic alert here. I have try me. We'll copy this and we'll paste it here. Okay, and we go back, we can see it's working just fine. Okay, so we get another alert here. We copy this out. So we can also customize this to our choice. You can see, oops, something went wrong. Okay, why do I have this issue? All right, okay, so you can customize this. You can say something like okay, you can say something like wrong details, something went wrong, please try refreshing the page. So this is just like a sample. Okay, this is just like a sample. So wrong details, something went wrong, try refreshing it. So you can customize this. We can put something like success, let's see. Okay, so you can customize this. You can check the basic usage, installation, usage, and you can just read the documentations, so icons. So this is for success, like what I put there. This is for warning. So if you want to put a warning logo, you copy this, and in the icon you can say warning. Oh, sorry, you can say warning, and we go back. It should give us a warning. Okay, so if we want to add, let's say, question, we can copy this. The icon, we can say question, and refresh. You can see the question has appeared. Okay, so go over the documentation. We can go to SweetAlert 2.github.io icons, and see what you can find. Okay, so I won't be going over these. Maybe when we're building, we'll try to add form success page and all that. So we'll be using SweetAlert to build a lot. Okay, so I'll comment this out, and so we go to the next thing here. We have the objects. Okay, so objects in JavaScript are used to store information, store data. So take example, you have a data of a client, or a data of a school system. Okay, so I can say var school, I can say equals to. Now these objects are stored in a curly bracelet. Okay, unlike variables. So we have declared them like variables, but the data type is stored in a curly bracelet. Okay, and we name certain data, like let's say name of school, name of school, and I give it a string data type. I can say Harvard University, and I put a comma. Okay, I can say age of student, I can say 32, I can say nationality, I can say Nigerian, for example. Last one, I can say discipline. I can say course, I can say computer science. All right, so now one thing about objects, all this can be in a straight line. Actually, it doesn't really matter, but you have to put a comma, but I prefer to just leave it like this. Okay, so you can put it in a straight line however you want to put it. Now in the last object value, okay, so this is like the object property and object property value. Okay, so in the last object value, don't put a comma. Okay, you don't put a comma. So we go to the console, we can see nothing happens, sources, console, nothing happens. So how do we access an object, okay, in JavaScript? So I can say console.log. If I want to log everything, if I want every information here to appear in the console, I'll simply just log the name of the object, okay, which is school. Okay, which is school. So we can see everything has appeared here. There's a drop down, 32, computer science, Harvard University, Nigerian. Okay, so we can see everything has what appeared. All right, everything has what appeared. So how do we log on just one information? Okay, so take example, we have this data. We say we just want to get the name of the school. Okay, so what do? We say console.log school dot the object value here, not the the object property here, property name and property value. The object property name is what? Name of what? School. I didn't use camel case in here. I just want to keep it quite simple. Name of school. So we're just going to get the name of the school. Okay, so we go to school dot the name of the school. Okay, what does that give us? Harvard University. We'll do the same thing. We want to get the age of the candidate. Let's say console.log. We can say school dot age of student, for example. Okay, age of student. So what age of student? 32. All right, 32. Okay, so we can do the rest for course. We can say console.log school dot course. Okay, to get the course, you can say computer science. All right, so it's very important you have know how to manipulate objects, and knowing how to get each data in the object. Okay, so we go to the next thing here, object constructor. Okay, so it's quite it might be quite limiting writing this for multiple people. Okay, so if I want to do this for another person, I can simply come and say var school 2 equals to, and I copy this and I change the data, for example. Okay, so if I want to do it for maybe 1,000 people, I'll have to declare this var with different variable names, but there's a way we can construct this object so that we don't have to let's say I use the real, and I put this as a 34, and I put this as a Canadian. Oh, sorry, I spelled that correctly. Canadian, and I put this as a course PhD in computer science, for example. Okay, so although I've not logged it into the console, but let me just see. I put console. Oh, let me put this after here so that we don't mix them up. So I can say console.log school 2, for example, school 2. So I've logged everything here into the console. So I'll be doing this for each of the 20,000 students, which is not smart. It's not efficient. It's not scalable. Okay, so there's a way we can construct objects in JavaScript without having to rewrite this over and over and over again. Okay, so I can say object constructor. So first of all, the object constructors are being put in functions. Okay, so I can say general details, for example, and now we come to the parameter. We put all this information here in the parameter. So I can say name of school, age of student, nationality, course. Okay, for example, and I put this, and oh, I added, this is wrong, just the function is okay. So now to make this valuable, okay, I'll put this keyword known as this dot name of school equals to what? Name of school. Okay, notice the color changed here. Now this is going to qualify it for us to use it outside this function when we want to create a new person from these general details. Okay, so I say age of student equals to age of student. Okay, the color also changes here to show you that this dot age of student is valid. So go to the next one. This dot nationality equals to nationality. Okay, so this dot course equals to course. Okay, so right now we can create as much as any amount of users we want from this general details object constructor. Okay, put inside a function. So to do that, what do? Is put a variable. We can put any it's just good to store these things in variable. So I can say school 3 for example, and I can say new general details. Okay, which is here. Okay, so we can give it any value at all. So we can say name of school. I can say Oxford University. Age of student, I can say 47. Nationality, I can say Indian. Course, I can say management. Okay, so we can do this. Let me just do this for maybe 3-4 persons. But first of all, let's log this into the console. Console.log is what? School 3. Okay, so this should bring out all these details here. Okay, school 3. Line 3, 5, 6. Where did we make a mistake here? 3, 5, 6. Was school. Age of student. Oh, so we forgot to put this into a string. Okay, that's our mistake here. So it should work perfectly well. Okay, so this is it. So general details, we have 47, age of student 47, course management, name of school Oxford University, nationality Indian. Okay, so we can see our object constructor works perfectly well. So without having to write this over and over again, we just have it, here right now. So we have general details, and let's say we want to access console.log. We want to access the age of the student in this school 3. Okay, so what do? We say school 3 dot age of student. Okay, so this should give us the age of student, which is 47. This is it, 47. Okay, so we can do that. Let's try this for one more person. So I can say var school 4 equals to creating a new person. We'll add a new keyword, new general details, and I'll be using, let's say, University of Lagos. The person is let's use 20, and obviously let's say Nigerian, and we have the last one, the course the person is studying. We can say mass communication. Okay, so this is the last person we're doing it for. So we can say console to get these details. We can say console.log school 4. Okay, so this is the details, general details. Okay, to show you that everything here is working perfectly well. Age of student 20, course mass communication, name of school University of Lagos, nationality Nigeria. Okay, so everything is working perfectly well. So with this object constructor, we don't need to rewrite all these other objects here and this. Okay, so we just simply need to create this. Now it's not we might be using this when we get to back end development and all that. Okay, so you will see the importance of this object constructor. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be going to is methods. Okay, methods. So I will just methods are objects, or methods are like functions inside the object constructors. Okay, methods are functions that are stored as object properties. But let me just use that first one. First thing I said, methods are objects that are stored like functions that are stored inside the object constructor. Okay, so let's just create a method. Okay, so let's use something like a function. Let me add this method methods. So I can say function person. For example, I want to create an object constructor of the name of a person, and let's say the age. Okay, so I said this dot name equals to name. Okay, this dot age equals to age. Okay, so take example, I want to create a method. I can say this, which is not part of the parameter here. Okay, but they're like functions. This dot, let's say date of birth, for example, equals to year born. Okay, now in this I can create a function out of this. Okay, so function year born. Okay, which is this. And it might be confusing, no problem, just look at the code. I'll be attaching the source the code into the description. Okay, the source code into the description. Okay, so we can say return let's say 50 plus the age, this dot age. Okay, that's this age here. Okay, okay, this dot age, that's this age here, and this is a method. We have successfully created a method here. Okay, I've successfully created a method here. Okay, so now if we want to call this method, first of all, let us just create a new person. So we can say var p1, for example. We can say equals to new person. What name can we give it? We can give it, let's say, my name, Clement, and we can give it any age. We can give it 70, for example, and let's say console.log, for example, p1, and we refresh this. You can see we have the name of the person and the age. Okay, 70, and we have the age here. Now when we are calling the method, we call this initial function here. Okay, sorry, this initial data here after this. Okay, so take example, I wanna call this method, I can say console.log then to manipulate it I can say p1 as usual dot date of birth. Okay, so date of birth. Okay, so this should similar to how this works. Okay, console.log p1.h. okay, so we are manipulating, or we are trying to get into this function here by manipulating this other keyword here. Okay, this one after the keyword here. Okay, so like I said, functions are methods are functions stored inside objects. So this is the function here, and this is like a variable to this function, but this is not a variable, this is this dot date of birth. Okay, so let's check if it works. So we have what 7. Okay, so I forgot to add this function. Okay, parameter or parenthesis. So this should work 120. Okay, so the year of birth I just added 50 to the age here 70. Okay, so that's for method. Don't worry if you don't understand this. As we go on, we'll be using method a lot. Last one, we have 3 more here. So we have JavaScript array. Okay, so similar to the object, or sorry, similar to the object here. Array can also be used to store different data. Okay, but can be accessed differently. Okay, so we have JavaScript array. Okay, so we'll also put them inside variables, so we can say types of fruits. Well, let me just say types of food. Okay, so it's stored in this what we call anchor brackets. So I can say yam, I can say beans, and it can also store different types of data. Okay, although this 70 is very old, there's no type of food here, but we can also put it. We can say milk, so type of liquid food, and we can say chicken, for example, and we put a destructor at the end. Okay, so manipulating this is very similar to manipulating your normal variable. Okay, so but now I made mention in the beginning of this video that JavaScript starts counting from 0 and not 1. Okay, in JavaScript and most other programming language, PHP, Python, start counting from 0 and not 1. Okay, so in this context now, if we want to access this yam, for example, we can say, okay, if we want to access the general data, we can say console.log, and we can say types of food, and we go back into the console, and we can see the types of food: yam, beans, 70, milk, chicken. Okay, I want to put the 70 here because I want to show us that it can house different types of data. Okay, so that's it. Now if we want to access individual data, take example, we want to access the first data, we can say console.log, and we can say types of food, and we can put the anchor bracket, and we can put 0 or 0 to access this first one, yam. Okay, so we go back and we have what? Yam. Okay, so to access the second one or the third one, you can say console.log types of food, anchor bracket, and we can say 1. This is for the second one. Okay, JavaScript counting from 0, so this is first one and this is second one. Okay, we can have bins. All right, so that's it. So we can access it till we have multiple data. Okay, so arrays are very useful. Can be used for, you know, to store data, can be used to store several vital information, and I've showed you guys how to access, you know, arrays. Okay, so what's the next one? This is how to access arrays. What's the next one? We have the last topic here. We have math objects. So we have done arithmetic operators. We have done comparison operators and all that. Okay, so we know what integer is, we know what float is, and we know what other data type is. So integers are just numbers that don't have decimals. Okay, 1 2 3 4 100 1000 999, while floats are data types or numbers that have decimal. Okay, 10.1 10.2 and all that. Okay, so I'll just be telling us the use of you know, this math objects here. Let me put this math objects. Okay, so now we have the first one known as what? Math.random. Math.random is used to generate a random number, okay, in JavaScript. So I say console.log, I can say math.random, for example. Okay, and we go back. Oh, what went wrong? Okay, this has to be in capital letter. Sorry. Yes, so it's a keyword, has to be in capital letter. Okay, so we say a random number here. Okay, 0.83. If we refresh this, a random number also appear. 0.19. If we refresh this, a random number also appear. Okay, so math.random is to generate random numbers. Okay, let me just indicate this here. Math.random used to generate random numbers. Okay, so I go to the next one, known as what? Math.square. This is used to access square root, for example, of a number. So math.sqrt. So I'll put it in the console directly, console.log. So I'll put the capital letter, for example, math.square. So what's the square root of 4, for example? Is going to give us that square root of 4 is 2. Let's try another number. We can say square root of 16 should give us 4. Okay, so that's used to, that function is used to access square root of a number. Okay, so let me indicate it here also. Math dot square is used to get a square root of a number. Okay, so what's the next one? We have math.flow. Okay, math.flow. So math.flow is used to, okay, like the name implies, it's used to round up numbers to the nearest integer. Okay, no matter how close the number is to rounding up to the nearest integer. Okay, downwards. Okay, so we say console.log math.floor. Okay, I want to use, let's say 69.9. okay, 69.9. So we check this out, we still have 69. Okay, I said downwards, math.floor. So in mathematics, when a number is above 5, it can be rounded up to the nearest whole number upwards. Okay, but now in JavaScript, match.floor will round up our number to the nearest whole number below, downwards. Okay, so let's see the opposite. Math.ceiling or math.seal, sorry, math.seal. Okay, console.log. So we have math.seal. Okay, so let's use the same whole number. We have, in fact, let me even use something lower, 62.1. So it's going to round it up upwards. Now this number is not up to 5, so it's supposed to still be 62, but it has given us what, 63. Okay, so in mathematics this is supposed to be what, 62, but it has given us what, 63. Okay, so we go to the next one, known as math.round. This would be rounding up to the nearest whole number. How similar it is in mathematics. So math.round. Okay, console.log math.round. Okay, I'll be doing 2 examples here. So 65.5, so this should give us 66 in mathematics. Okay, so I'll give another one, console.log math.round. Let's say 65.4. So the first one should give us 66 and the second one should give us 64. Perfect. Okay, 65, 66 and 65. Okay, so this is not up to 5, so it rounded up downwards. This is up to 5, it rounded upwards. Okay, so guys, I'll be stopping here, and I want everybody to go over these videos. We'll be using everything we have learned so far to build something more structured, especially when we get to DOM, document object model. Okay, so go over this and go over these topics, practice more, and see you in the next video.